Moscow and get caught in a controversy surrounding alcohol sponsorship on the Scottish rock circuit. But more privately, in the lifestyles of the rich and famous, guitarist Stuart Adamson indulges his sporting fantasies as a fan of Dunfermline Athletic and a motorcycle enthusiast. Stuart Adamson, bagpipe guitarist extraordinaire, you've been brought into the cage to defend yourself. We're surrounded by these motorbikes. What's the connection between big country and the motorbike scene?
The connection is really is between not really the whole group, but more specifically myself and a guy called Ian Duffus, who I sponsor to race in the Scottish and British National Road Racing Championships. It's something I've done. But I think we've been, Ian and I have been together now for I think about 5 seasons, and culminated last season in us winning all 3 of the Scottish Championships. That's the Junior, Senior and Premier, and some very good results in the British Championships. And this season Ian actually for the first time won some British Championship races, and unfortunately recently injured his foot in an accident in Thruxton, I think it was it, and has been in plaster for the past month or so, and so it's an early end to the season for us, and really we're at the moment planning what bikes we're going to be using next season and which races we're going to be competing in.
Stuart, I'm obliged to ask you the journalistic question. Guitars and motorbikes, the classic big willy phallic symbols. I mean, how do you defend yourself?
I think it's the duty of every rock musician really to be involved in motorsport at some sort of level. I think the fascination that musicians have for the internal combustion engine is one that is long-lasting and very much a part of the musical tradition. I mean, right from the days of Elvis Presley and his throbbing Harley Davidsons to the up-and-current independent bands and their Vespa scooters.
That's right. And you've also been involved in the famous Tennant's Lager thing. Is that something that's justifiable in terms of the motorbike scene?
My involvement in the Tennant's thing is through the Music in Scotland Trust, which is a private body set up to develop opportunities and really the potential of young Scottish musicians. I think the sad thing about the music scene in Scotland is that there are very few opportunities for young musicians to actually go and play and go and learn something about being involved in the music business before they're snapped up by people who are involved in it really as big businessmen. The Trust is not a wealthy organisation at all, so money from any source is more than welcome. I would say that it's perhaps not the ideal situation to be involved with a company whose products are alcohol, obviously very much alcohol based. I think I'd much prefer it if money was coming from other sources. But I think money's money no matter who it comes from. And I think the important thing is to give young people information and give them a chance and let them make decisions for themselves. I think people have enough sense, and that you really can't set yourself up as a moral judgment on someone else's behaviour, and nor is it my job to do that.
You have set yourself up as a moral judge of the fortunes of Dunfermline Athletic.
Yeah,
how are they to be morally judged at present?
I think I have a great admiration for Jim Leishman, the manager, and for the club in general. I'd say it's a fascination I've had with the side since I was probably I think 8 years old when I first went there, which is 22 years ago for those pop fact finders out there. And I love the team dearly and go to watch them as much as I can. And at the moment things are looking very good for them, and hopefully they'll be able to keep their heads down and keep going the way they are.
Stuart, you've just come back from a historic trip of Moscow, historic in the fact that thousands of journalists ended up in pools of their own vomit. Did you enjoy the trip?
I did actually. It's fascinating to go and see not only a country but an entire nation, an entire ideological system which is completely different to what you grew up in. Completely, and really I learned a lot through going there and meeting people and talking to people, and learned a lot about our attitudes here in the West as well.